Welcome, dear students. Today we will study about ecological succession. The word succession means when one thing is replaced by the other, and the word ecological, that is derived from ecosystem. What is ecosystem? Ecosystem is a unit where both living and non-living components of the environment, they interact with each other. In an ecological succession, or it is a process in which species, they are replaced over time. And individual successions in during an ecological successions are called as what? Sears. And developmental phases, we call them what? Serial stages. Now there are two kinds of successions: primary succession and secondary succession. Student, when a succession or an ecosystem, it develops from a bare rock surface which is formed after a volcanic lava, like igneous rocks, they are formed like that, or it is scraped clean by glaciers. So that succession is called as what? Primary succession. But if a succession, it develops into an area where some years back an ecosystem that was there, but somehow it was disturbed, and then again now it is going to form a new ecosystem over there, then that kind of succession is called as what? Secondary succession. Student, primary succession, that takes much more time to develop as compared to secondary succession. Secondary succession, that takes less time to develop into an area, because already a soil that is there and some moisture that is present, and soil is suitable for the growth of the plants. While in primary succession, first rock that gets changed into that of the soil, and then it allows vegetation into that area. So secondary succession, it develops into an area which is abandoned farm field, and or it can be a forest area which is devastated or ruined or destroyed by fire, flood, or cyclone, etc. Now a type of successions, according to the area where it is going to develop, it is of two kinds. For example, if it develops into ponds, lakes, or elsewhere where water that is present, then it is called as what? Hydrarch. And stages, we call them what? Hydrosears. And if a succession, it develops on rocks, sand dunes, or rocky slopes, then it is called as what? Zerarch. And stages, they will be called as what? Xerosears. So a succession which develops on dry land, that is called as what? Zerarch. Or stages are called as what? Xerosears. And if it develops into a place where water that is present, then it is called as what? Hydrarch or hydrosears. Now students, whenever an ecosystem, it starts from somewhere, the first plants are kind of organisms which are present into that area, or which appear into that area, we call them what? Pioneers. And the last one, well developed species, they are called as what? That is called as what? Climax community, or that is the end product. And between them, number of stages or communities, they will be there, they will be called as what? Serial stages or serial communities. Now we will discuss Zera succession in this topic. And students, so various stages and process of Zera successions which results into the development of climax community, they are: number one, crustose lichen stage; second one is foliose lichen stage; third one, moss stage, herb stage, shrub stage, tree stage; and finally a final stage is called as what? Climax stage. Now what is crustose lichen stage? It is the pioneer stage On bare rocks, only crustose lichens they develop or they can grow. Students, these are slow growers and can withstand extreme dry conditions or extreme desiccation. When there is rain, they absorb water like sponges and decompose rock by secreting acids. And members of the lichens which can grow on a rock, they are Lysinora and Rhinodina. These are the two kind of lichens which can appear on that of the hard rock, and they start decomposition of the rock into that of the soil. Like these are the pioneer species. Second kind of lichens which are leaf-like, a bit leaf-like in appearance, we call them what? Foliose lichen stages. Student, these lichen stages, they do what? Like already process of succession that has been started by what? By the crustose lichen stage. So it on the little soil, foliose lichen stage that will develop, and it is leaf like lichens, and by their activities they form a thin layer of soil. And members of this kind of lichens, they are Parmelia and Dermatocarpon. Then third stage is called as what? Moss stage. Student, when sufficient amount of soil that has been gathered into the crevices of the rocks and depressions, they will develop. Then mosses, they begin to appear. These are the, like you can see, this is bare rock, and then lichens, they have been developed, and these are mosses. Mosses are, you know, like funaria and other moss plants, which are the group of what? Bryophytes. They will start appearing into that of the rock, and they give a velvety appearance on that of the rock, and they can hold greater amount of water, and along with the soil makes habitat suitable for the next group of plants, are which are called as what? Herbs. So then after after moss stage, herb stage, it appears, and herbaceous weeds, mostly they invade the rock, and the species which start the which started to invade the rocks, we say that they are annual species, and their roots, they penetrate deep into that of the rocks, and they further increase the process of weathering. Breakdown of rock into soil is called as what? Weathering. And leaf litter and death of herbs, and it adds humus into that of the soil, and shedding of soil, it results in decrease in evaporation, and there is a slight change in that of the temperature. As a result, the xeric conditions, they begin to change from the annual herbs to that of the biennial and perennial herbs. Students, biennial plants are those plants which complete their life cycle in 2 years, and perennial are those which complete their life cycle in 1 year. And then after this, next stage that appears, which is called as what? Shrub stage. Student, shrubs are those plants which are smaller than the trees, and their trunks, they are little, or they can have no trunks as well, and they are bushy in appearance, and they are, you can say, they are low woody plants. So they can either start their formation from seeds, or they invade from the adjacent areas by rhizomes. Now underground stems, we call them what? Rhizomes. And these conditions, they make the conditions unsuitable for the herbaceous plants, and as a result, shrubby plants or shrubs, they start growing into that area. And afterwards, when shrubs they appear into an area, then birds they invade the area and help in the dispersal of seeds. This results in dense growth, shading the soil and making conditions unfavorable for the growth of herbs, which then begin to migrate. And then among the shrubby plants or among the shrubs, some trees they start growing, and these trees form canopy or covering on the area, and they shade the area. As a result, shade loving plants they can grow as secondary vegetation, but primary succession they will be but small trees, and leaf litter and decaying roots they they will be added into that of the soil, and in this way they will increase its fertility, and it will make the soil more favorable for the climax forest or climax stage. The first species of trees are relatively they are xeric in xeric species, or they can tolerate extreme dry conditions. As the weathering process or breakdown process it continues, then soil it deepens, and the xeric trees in turn gives place to mesophytic species. Student, mesophytic species are those plants which can tolerate moderate temperature, and ultimately a forest it will develop into an area. Student, this whole process that takes hundreds of years, like this is not a one day process, or it doesn't take a few months, but it completes itself in number of years. So this is all about what ecological succession. Thank you, students.